personal comments about my mom's friends as well, which I think is what I say about
Hi.
I love you!
Thank you. You seem very nice also.
Oh my God!
Patching you into Mr. Wayne.
No, please don't. Sorry if this sounds weird, but are you actively eating that candy bar? Maybe you could throw it to me. In the name of justice.
I need you here now, Barry.
Hi, Bruce. Yes, I'm coming.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Shah, and today I'm going to discuss the Flash movie. And man, I'm going to discuss the hell out of it. I'm sorry, that was bad. That was so bad. I don't know why I did that, but the Flash movie was in development for over 10 years. The Flash movie was actually announced right before the Flash TV show started, and the fact that it came out a bit after the Flash TV show ended after about 10 years is insane to me. It is wild to me. All right, so we're all aware, for those that were looking forward to the movie, we're pretty much aware of what Ezra Miller had going on out in their personal life outside the movie. I'm not really going to discuss too much about that. I want to discuss the movie, the impact it had on me. The Flash is actually one of my favorite comic book characters. He's actually my favorite comic book character. Period. Wally West was my introduction into the Flash. When I was younger, Barry had already sacrificed himself during Crisis on Infinite Earths. And when it came to said mediums, I said it was the comics, and it was also Michael Rosenbaum's portrayal of Wally West on the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited TV shows. And honestly, it was just his characterization of that character that I fell in love with. I'd read the comics, and anytime I got to see the Flash in any medium, I get excited about. I don't want to discuss the show too much right now. I'll probably be later on in this video, this episode, or the next episode. But when it comes to the movies, you have Ezra Miller as the Flash, Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck reprising the roles as Bruce Wayne Batman. Gal Gadot makes an appearance as Wonder Woman. Sasha Calle is Supergirl. And I want to start off by saying Ezra Miller, their portrayal as two characters should be praised. I really believe that these were two different Barrys at two different times that grew up very differently, that see the world differently. Like it didn't take me out the movie to see two different versions of Barry, and I could tell the difference between the two outside the physical aspects, you know, the haircut and the longer hair and whatnot. Their personalities were different. How they thought about stuff was, how they approached certain situations were different. The opening action scene with Ben Affleck's Batman has to be one of my favorite scenes in the movie, especially because he does have that blue and gray suit, a variation of it. And I really wish, and this is probably an unpopular opinion, I really wish we had more time with Ben Affleck's Batman. I wish we would have gotten that Ben Affleck Batman movie. I wish his character was treated a bit more well when it came to the Joss Whedon Justice League movie. Michael Keaton was my first live action introduction into Batman, so he'll always hold a special place in my heart. So to see him reprise his role and still kill it just made me giddy. The storyline wasn't I'm not gonna say it was bad. It's based on the Flashpoint comics, or the Flashpoint comic event, which is another essentially a reboot of the DC universe in the comics, and they did a similar thing in the DC animated movies. And like I said, there's some differences when it comes to how they do it, and for the most part, it was okay. Like I said, the third act, I wish they would have delved more in. We don't see Reverse Flash in this movie, and that's fine. But I also felt like we didn't really necessarily need Dark Flash too much. I kind of felt like if like I said, the storyline for the most part is good, but we could have gotten more Zod. Zod could have been more of a compelling villain because of what's happening in that timeline, because there is no Superman. From the beginning, all right, Barry is helping Bruce with saving some people in the hospital right now. Barry's on his way to work. He works in a CSI lab. He's late. He's trying to get his coffee. His usual barista isn't there that particular day, and the barista that's there right now is pretty much slow and talking his ear off. So in that time, Barry pretty much saves a crap ton of people from a hospital. And like I said, a lot of people didn't have too many nice things to say about the opening scene as regards to the babies falling. I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. Don't get me wrong, CGI isn't always going to be perfect, and yes, CGI visual effects artists are usually overpaid and highly underworked. But at the same time, for what we got in this movie when it came to CGI, I will not complain, because we almost didn't get a Flash movie. Could have been better? Yes. Was it good enough for me? Absolutely. And I really kind of thought it was cool on how Barry tracks his calories based on his speed is based on his calorie intake. The more calories he has to burn, the faster and more speed he'll be able to use and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And Barry's dad is up for an appeal, and his dad is pretty much saying, hey, listen, you did what you could. I'm proud of you, but it's game over, man. It's game over, Barry, being Barry, Barry and historically is a hopeful character. He's essentially too nice. He's essentially too good, too honest, to the point where it's damn near nauseating. But these are the qualities that you fall in love with Barry for. You really love the character for this. And who wouldn't want to save their mother? Who wouldn't want to make sure that their father is a free man, especially when you know with all your heart that he is innocent? Barry goes to talk with Bruce, saying, I could save my parents and yours. I'm sure Bruce has already thought about that too. And Bruce is telling him, you could change things, but you could also destroy things. And you know, this Bruce, he's more wise, he's more mature. I think he's more based off the Dark Knight Returns with Ben Affleck, which I really liked, and said that this Batman is at peace with his parents being gone. You know, he's not pining to bring them back. He wants to let them rest. And I feel like there's a lot of growth that wasn't shown, which I would have loved to see with his character in his own like movie or whatnot. Wonder Woman helps out during the opening scene. She helps Bruce. Bruce essentially, with the lasso of truth in his hand, is saying like, I'm too much of a proud guy to apologize. Also, I do realize that me being in the Batsuit isn't the best way to use my billions of dollars. I could actually just stop poverty myself. And then Barry blurts out, I know what sex is, I just never had it. And I cackled. There's, for the most part, the comedy in this movie hit. And I said it was a bit cheesy at times and definitely immature, but it's also fitting for the character, especially for the younger version of Barry. Barry time travels or whatnot, and we see this iteration of the Speed Force, or it's called the Chrono Bowl. So it's like film strips of little clips of like what recently happened in that day. And I thought that was cool. It's like little reels of film. All right, for those who were not born, you know, or for those who remember cassette tapes and actual film to put in a camera, it kind of looked like that, like little things you could just reel and just look back throughout the day. And I thought that was really cool. Barry goes back, but you see the Dark Flash come out of nowhere and knock him out with Speed Force, causing him to fall out the time stream and go back to where he was headed. Well, not to where he's headed, towards more so the present, but not the present he's from. He got back a few years early, and before that, Barry is seeing his life play out while his mom is in it. That means birthdays, that means shaving, that means, you know, all these other activities that his mom missed out on because she was not alive in the other one. And like I said, did I really care for the Dark Flash? It was interesting, don't get me wrong. I really felt like it was interesting that a version of Barry was going to be the protagonist, because who could be your worst enemy besides you? And I thought that was really dope. I guess I kind of felt like they could have leaned more into Zod being the villain, because he is essentially a villain. He is fucking up stuff, and I kind of felt like towards the end, when you're having that act, he shouldn't just be there just as to say, oh, well, he's that bad thing that happened, how do we fix it? Like, they were more focused on restarting everything and saving Batman and Supergirl. But like I said, that wasn't too bad of a thing. It was more so, except for the most part, the movie was good. It wasn't bad. Like I said, throughout the movie, it said you see Barry try to tell younger Barry what's going on and how to use his powers, and younger Barry is very annoying, like blatantly annoying, and that's who his character is. This younger Barry, he's spoiled. His mom still does his laundry. He has friends. Nigga has roommates. He's going on a date with Iris West, actually the same day that older Barry got struck by lightning and got his powers. And you kind of see how immature this Barry is, because he hasn't really gone through anything. He hasn't really lost anything, and he's had everything for the most part go his way his whole life. So I said they go to Star Labs. he almost backs out of getting struck by lightning because he does not want to get struck by lightning. Too late, they both get struck by lightning. Older Barry loses his powers and a tooth. Younger Barry gains powers. Goes back. Shows him how to use it for a little bit. Try to tell him, because he did essentially run himself stark naked because of the lightning and burning all his clothes because of the speed and whatnot. So you did get to see some of these cool action set pieces on what would happen if, younger Barry found out. It was actually really cool. He finds out how screwed the timeline is, because Michael J. Fox is not the star of Back to the Future, which falls onto a bunch of cascades of actors starring in movies that they haven't starred in our regular timeline. They try to find Cyborg. He's still in college. He's still attending college for football. He hasn't become Cyborg yet. Arthur Curry, Aquaman, isn't necessarily born in this timeline. He doesn't exist for the most part. Wonder Woman does not exist. Clark did not fall to Earth. It was Kara, but the Zod and his group killed baby Clark. They intercepted his ship because they thought he had the Codex, like he did in Man of Steel, but he did not. It was Kara. They do find Bruce Wayne. Everyone knows, for the most part, that Batman does exist. They just don't know who he is, and he's retired. And the reason why he's retired is because Gotham has been safe for a while, that he didn't need to be Batman. They go in. Bruce pops out of nowhere, kicks the shit out of Older Barry, sees that Younger Barry has powers. Because what else would you do if you're Bruce Wayne and you've lived by yourself for years, and all of a sudden these two essentially these twin-looking dudes pop up, asking a bunch of questions like they know you and stuff, and he pretty much tells them, like, the way you were taught time travel is wrong, and essentially not really a jab, but like commentary on how like other mediums in the MCU see time travel. He's saying that there is a fulcrum, there's a point in which you don't just change the outcome of the past, you change not only the past and the future, and you're just at that middle point. So everything about that timeline changes, not just the past, but the future as well. So the whole timeline changes as to a part of it, i.e. like the part the time traveler has changed. There's a lot of timey-wimey stuff. I'm not a physicist, I'm not an astrophysicist, I'm not the smartest guy in the room when it comes to science, stuff like that, but it is interesting nonetheless. At first, Bruce doesn't want to help, and then, he helps. Older Barry tries to get his powers back. He almost dies. Kara, who they saved not too long after in Russia, helps him get his powers back. They go try to fight Zod. Zod is not a huge part of the movie. Like, he's there. You just know that's Zod, and he's come to terraform Earth and kill Kara. And I felt like they could have focused more on that than the Dark Flash stuff. Like, they could have focused more so on Zod being a problem, and then Dark Flash popping up at the end or whatnot, with Younger Barry sacrificing himself so that Dark Flash no longer exists. It's so a whole lot going on. And while that third act is happening, Barry goes back in time or whatnot, and he's seeing the multiverse opening and break down and whatnot. He sees like George Reeves' Batman and Christopher Reeve's Batman and the Supergirl, the one that played her in the 1970s. He sees a version of Jay Garrick, who especially looks like a CGI'd version of Teddy Sears. And then there's Nicolas Cage's Superman from the Superman Lives movie that never got to live, fighting a giant fucking spider. Now, Was the CGI horrible with those cameos? Yes. It wasn't horrible. It could have been better. My whole thing is with cameos and CGI and dead actors and stuff like that. You need to have a proper swan song for these characters, or just switch them out for live act for younger actors, or show clips for, or there are better ways you could have given homage to these actors and these characters, and I kind of wish we got to see more of the other Justice League characters. If this was the last movie before the DCEU was rewritten and formed to the DCU, there should have definitely been a kind of like goodbye almost for like I said, Cavill Superman, Gal Gadot Wonder Woman, Ben Affleck's Batman. Hell, I said there was even a cameo at the very end of the movie with Aquaman that had nothing to do with the movie, and they didn't have they could have. I don't know. With my whole thing with the movie was good and it could have been better. Yes, Ezra Miller did some stuff that probably didn't make a lot of sense. Because like I said, I try not to dive into all that or whatnot, but I said it was definitely the stuff he did outside the film that affected this movie. Also, just being backed up so much and rewritten, and the creative differences held the movie back a lot too. But it was more so I just felt like they could have taken some scenes out, added some scenes in, and just showed more love to the characters of the DCEU. Will I rewatch it again? Maybe. Was it the best superhero movie? No. Was it the worst superhero movie? No. But it's a superhero movie. It was memorable. I did have a good time. I definitely enjoyed myself with the 2 hours that the 2 hours and some change that I was in the theater. But I definitely said, as excited as I definitely was expecting more from this movie. As I said, and it was hyped up, like it was so overhyped. Like, don't get me wrong, if Ezra Miller wasn't doing this, if she did, and the like I said, and they would have treated Zod a bit better when it came to like writing and developing a third act actually with that character, instead of him just being the guy that's like Zod was essentially a plot device. And like if you're gonna have Zod come back from a movie that came out 10 years ago, you need to have him more than a screen saying, oh well, I gotta kill you because the Codex isn't Clark. Do I have hope for the DCU? Yes. Why? James Gunn. James Gunn has a track record, for the most part, that doesn't miss. The Guardians trilogy, Peacemaker, The Suicide Squad. I think that one movie he did years ago, it was a horror movie he did years ago. I can't think of the name. I don't know if it was Splice or something else, but that movie was up. I know he produced Brightburn, which was an amazing horror / like superhero movie. It's not a superhero movie, but it was a super movie. And I thought that was great. Well, like I said, he's a fantastic writer as well as a director, and he sometimes does both on one project, and I'm excited for what he has in store. I'm glad that DC found someone that, as far as I know, what I've seen from his art, he cares about the source material and about the characters. Like, a lot of people were really upset when he recast, well, not recast, but he made he made the dog, he made Cosmo the dog a female instead of a male, like in the comics. In the comics, Cosmo's known as the good boy, probably the best boy. But in the show, Cosmo is a female, and I understood why Cosmo is a female, and then that I understood even more when James Gunn confirmed it. Yes, Cosmo is a boy in the comics, but Cosmo is also based on Lila, the Russian space dog that the Russians left up into space on one of their first missions. And so he paid homage to Lila, and I thought that was really great, especially because this movie was more so about the care, I should say the maltreatment and the abuse of animals and stuff like that. So I thought that was really great. And so yeah, there's Blue Beetle coming out, there's Aquaman coming out. I would discuss Shazam 2. I watched it, but I'm gonna let y'all know right now, I kept falling asleep. A brother was tired, and so I'm gonna have to rewatch it. But I do have a bunch of reviews for some TV shows and movies that I should have seen a long time ago or that I'm catching up on, such as Dune, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Lower Decks, which I'm just mad at myself for not watching before. Harley Quinn, I haven't seen at all. So yeah, there's going to be a lot more reviews. I will be posting more clips of stand-up bits and from open mics and shows. I do have the new single coming out July 21st called Leap of Faith from my beat tape Black Elevator Music, coming in September. And then I have another track with the talented friendly neighborhood rapper AJ Shine called Starcross, which will be on all streaming platforms, both those singles, on July 31st. And thank you guys so much for listening to my content. Please make sure you subscribe, like, click that notification button, follow if you're on listening to this on Spotify. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.